if you see the title of the discussion today, which is little mixed up, it seems like what kind of title is this? How art and cultural heritage and law can be linked. We as Bangladeshi, we always are proud, we feel proud about our culture. We say that we have a very rich culture, and not only internally within the country, beyond the country, we profoundly talk about our richness in different aspects of culture. But when we talk about culture, we only talk about what? We talk about our arts, paintings, our rich poets, painters, novelists. We talk about them. And we also talk about some of our social norms and values that we have, how we differentiate ourselves as Bangladeshi and Bengalis to the rest of the world. And we take pride in saying that. But is it the only aspect of culture? If we look into what is culture, culture is not only those arts and musics and novels and literatures. Culture is what we do, how we talk, what we don't do, how we behave. Everything is a part of our culture. Now, sadly speaking, in the modern time, if we now look into the street, if we just look across the street and we see that nobody is following the traffic rules. You, me, when we will go out of this seminar hall, we will also somehow attempt to not abide by the traffic rules. And we will try to give a blind eye. If the vehicle we are in, whether it's car or rickshaw or CNG, wherever we are, and if we see that the driver is somehow managing to go fast, violating all the rules and disregarding the other commuters, we internally feel happy. we give a blind eye and we think, okay, he's taking us quickly. So is it also our culture? If we say no, then why everybody is doing it on the street? Then if we say yes, that is our culture, then we have a very big question mark. It cannot be our culture. We are not like this. But the reality somehow force us to talk about these things. And it seems like if a Western person come to Bangladesh and he start traveling from the airport to his hotel, and when he sees that nobody is following anything and everybody is jumping into the other, everybody is only self-centeredly thinking about his right, disregarding the other people's right, then what kind of cultural message we will convey to them? How can we say that our cultural heritage is very strong, and we have how can we take pride of what we were taking pride? So then there will be a practical difference between what we were saying and what we are doing. So this is how you see our culture has become, to some extent, not abiding by the law. We are only concerned about our rights, but we are not concerned about our obligations. We are not concerned about the rights of the other people. We have a tendency somehow not to respect the other people's opinion. We are very solid and strong in giving our opinion, but when the other people are giving opinion, it's not that we are always very easily taking their opinion and viewpoints. How much inclusive we are, how much we can adopt the different views and different opinions of other people. If we cannot adopt and accept, we don't have to necessarily like everything, but we cannot disrespect the other people's view and opinion. If we do so, then how can we say that we are culturally very solid and strong, and how can we take pride? So this is a matter that the young generation, the educated youth, I always use the term educated youth because the educated youth are the flag bearer of the nation, and they will build the nation, they will take the nation forward in the coming days. So the mindset of the educated youth is very important. Of course, those who have not taken higher education, it is also important that they have a proper mindset. they have a respect to law, but the educated youth have more responsibility because of the mere fact that you have the opportunity to take higher education. So the responsibility also lies more heavily on the educated youth than those youth and the people who have not had the privilege to take higher education and come to a university, for example. So as educated youth, you have a responsibility not to indulge into those behaviors which we think which are not right. And we have a responsibility. If we think that what can I do? I'm only one person. If I abide by something, the rest of the hundreds and thousands people are not following the law. So how can I change the society? Of course we can change the society. Each individual, we have some responsibility. We are like 20, 30 people here. Now if we think that we let's as an example, let's try to follow the traffic rule from now on. I will follow. Then we are 30 people here. 30 people is not a small number. And then we have family. We can multiply our 30 by 4 or 5 times. So then we have 150 people in our family. And then if we follow something, the way the bad things create examples, the good things also create examples. If I cross the road by the foot over bridge, if I with the zebra crossing, if I say stop my car, then the other people, at least few people will follow. And this is how the culture can be changed. It cannot be changed in a day, but we can make some effort. Why I always give the example of this traffic situation? Because this is very much apparent. And everybody, wherever we go to our educational institution, our workplace, X, Y, Z, to school, college, wherever we go, to the shop, grocery shop, we have to go out of the home. And whenever we are faced with a lawless situation, the lawlessness somehow becomes our habit. So if I do not abide by the traffic rules on the street, and then I reach the school, then I reach the university, I reach my workplace, I already have a tendency of not abiding by the law. So when I am working professionally, I already build up a habit of somehow deviating from the law. So this is where, from the very small matters, the shallow matters, the big things also somehow we become habituated. And then we may end up doing much heinous and grievous and serious illegal activities. I should not say crime, but something which is not legal. If I do something which is not illegal or which is not legal, I'm not only doing something wrong as a human being, I'm also somehow hampering other people's right. So I have to consider that for my small benefit, shall I hamper other 100 people's right? We have to value ourselves as a human being. One of the very good scholar from Bangladesh, he once said that the Bangladesh is of course, we are developing, we are doing economic growth, but we are still a poor country. Being poor is not a crime, but losing all these human qualities is a crime. So there can be poor people, it doesn't really matter. But when we lose all our human qualities, that is something that we have to really focus on. And being the educated youth, having the privilege of being educated in reputed universities like these and others, you have a much bigger and responsible role towards the society compared to the other people. So we just cannot simply compare ourselves to the thousands of other people and say that they are not following anything and I am not also following anything. So this is how the laws of life, the very basic laws of life, this is a part of our culture. It is a cultural issue. It's not actually a legal issue. It's not for the lawyers. It's not for the court. It's not for the judges. It's for everybody, because these are laws of life. There are many laws of life. If we consider what is right, what is wrong, as a human being, from a moral and social cultural perspective, if your moral, social, cultural, and sometimes also religious perspective says it is wrong, you will also see that the law says it is wrong. And if the answer is yes, it is right, then you will also see that the law is not prohibiting. So the law is not an alien concept. The law is coming from our society. So the law, if we alienate law, if we think the law is not for us, law is for the lawyers, we are not law students, or we are not lawyers, we are not judges, we are not police, so why shall we know the law? Then we alienate ourselves, we create a distance from the laws of life. And then, you see, everybody need not know every law. There are so many technical laws, IT-related laws, company-related laws, tax-related laws. We don't need to know everything unless we are dealing with that. These are specific laws. These are technical laws. But there are laws of life, like say consumer protection. Like as your students, there are some rules, internal rules and regulations of the universities. As a lawyer, we have some lawyers' rules and regulations. As a teacher, they have some rules and regulations. As a university, there are some rules and regulations by the UGC. So wherever you are, you have some specific laws. And as a human being, you have some laws. So laws are nothing which are very alien, very far away from our life. Laws are part of our life. And how much we will follow mostly depend on our cultural strength. It is also dependent on how strong the court is, how much legal enforcement is there, how much transparent and corruption-free and efficient the law enforcing agencies are. Of course, these are very important factors. But most important factor is how much respect for law I have in my mind. So if we have respect for law, then most of the problems are solved automatically. We don't care about our court system. We don't care about how lengthy or, sometimes we are not, especially the young generation, we think that our court system is very poor. We don't get remedies properly. Our law enforcing agencies cannot always properly work efficiently. There are a lot of corruption related discussions even within the judiciary. The Attorney General only yesterday says that most of the officials of the court has become corrupt, unfortunately. He said it yesterday. Yes, these are all there, but what are we doing? What is my role, and am I performing my role? Am I creating a mindset to respect the law within my limited scale? I don't have to care about what Attorney General said. I don't have to care about whether the court officials has become corrupt or not. If I want to change the society, I have to change my mindset. I don't have to actually change my mindset. We all have a mindset of respecting the law, but sometimes we forget it. So we have to remember that we are not disrespectful people. We have respect for law. We have strong cultural sense we want to follow, but sometimes we forget it. Why do we forget it? Because when we start doing something, we say that most of the people are forgetting it, and we indulge ourselves with the flow, despite knowing that the flow is not a good flow. So if we say that the flow is going in the wrong direction, we have a responsibility to stop it and go to the right direction. So this is what I want to say mostly. I take the opportunities to talk to different universities and different educated youth group, because it is important. I always say it is important that the educated youth have a right direction, because they have more possibilities of leading the country than the youth who had not the possibility of taking education. You would be, holding different posts in coming 2, 3, 5, 10 years time. So if you do not have a proper mindset, if we, including myself and everybody, youth, within the United Nations definition, youth is up to 40 years. So I'm still a youth in that sense. So we have a responsibility to believe in our culture and really feel proud of, and so that we can minimize the differences of what we say in theory and what we do in reality. And please believe me that if you start practicing something, maybe starting with the traffic rules, because that is, we have to go to the road every day. So that's a very good way of starting with something very basic. Please believe me, if you do something good, if you follow it, you will feel so good. This is also a mental satisfaction as a human being, as an educated person. And 100 people will not follow you, but 2% will still follow you. So you can also teach at least 2%, and then there will be a spillover impact. Good things also go and spread, maybe slowly, but still it grows and spread. And we have to spread it. We don't want to see that the Bangladeshi people are seen as uncivilized people by anybody. Will you be able to tolerate it if anybody calls us uncivilized? We will not. We will not. So if we cannot tolerate it, if we take pride of our country, our culture, we have to behave accordingly. And we have the responsibility of ourselves as a human being to live as a dignified human being. So, it's not a more like a discussion on the book that I have authored, but of course, since it is the talk that we have is inspired by the book, I also take this opportunity to say a few words about this book. This is a book that I have written and published last year. This is also available in the book fair that is going on. But on top of that, the book contains 130 stories, real life stories from the people's life. So this is why I name it Legal Stories of Life. So these are real life stories of different type of people from Bangladesh and few from beyond Bangladesh, different countries, and they came up with their legal problem. So when you will read those stories, you can relate to yourself or relate to your friend or family, and you see, okay, these are happening all across, because these are real stories. So you can see those things as a story. You can read those things as a story. And then when you read the story, the short story, like a movie, like a thriller movie, when you see a thrilling scene going on, your inquisitive mind want to know how the situation has been solved. So when you read the story, a problematic story, somebody has been facing a problem, your mind will automatically want to know the solution. And then I came up with the solution in light of law. So it's not a law book. It's not a law book. It's a story book with a legal solution of the issues. So this is why I say that this is a unique type of book. If we say within the genre of law book, there is no such law book written in our search in the world. So far we have not found. And then we have also included photographs through a photography competition, some paintings painted by very prominent painters of Bangladesh for the book, which they have never done also in the past. So while the book has 7 paintings specifically painted for the book with 7 chapters by the most prominent painters, it has 13 photographs selected through photography competitions amongst the amateur photographers. So the photographers are amateur, and this is also their first publication. So the book, while it is authored by me, it is not only my book, it has other 20 people involved, and for 13 of them it is also as a photography, this is their first publication. And so I would encourage that. I believe some of the copies would be available in the library. So I would encourage you, go through the book, have at least browse it, and I believe you will like it. We have been also distributing the book free of cost to as many as 5,000 organizations, 2 copies. So there will be 10,000 books distributed free of cost as a part of our CSR activities. So these will be distributed not to the individuals but to the institutions, because individually it is not possible to distribute books on an individual level, but to the organizations like universities and libraries and business associations, where there are members or students, so that more and more people have access to it. So this is how I feel that I am trying to discharge some part, maybe a little part of my responsibility towards the society, and I invite people to also discharge their part of the responsibility to the society. And since my area is law, I would that's why I invite that you discharge your responsibility by strictly following the laws of life. You don't have to care about other things, the basic things, so that the people can learn from you, and you can also feel very proud of yourself, and the feeling that you will take internally, whatever happens to other people, that is also a good feeling. So this is how I finished the discussion, and thank you very much for your patience and listening to me. But I will be open to answer any questions if you have any. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was an excellent presentation. Going forward, I would love to hear at least one story of your book and how you actually given the solution from the law's perspective, the story with the legal framework. I would love to hear one story at least.
Yeah, thank you. Just as again a little generic starting, it has 130 stories, as I said, and it is divided into 6 chapters. So I have divided the chapters like family law, employment law, corporate law, and criminal law, and miscellaneous chapter, something like that. So I remember one very touchy story from an elderly lady. She said that she is like 60 plus, and her husband has died, and she has 3 children, if I am not wrong. All are very well established, and she and her husband has given all their best effort to educate the children to the best possible way, and they are well off family. They don't have any problem with the financials and others. She is not also financially dependent. But what she was regretting, that her children, none of the children are making any communication to her. So they are possibly only coming to her home during the Eid and other festivals. And the rest of the time she is alone, and the children were not even calling her to know how is she doing. So she was telling me that I don't want to take any legal action against my children, but I just want to know that is it how the children should behave with the parents when the parents are at the older age. And she said that I don't need any financial support because I have the financial support. Well, all I need is that my children are contacting with me. They are coming, they are calling, not every day, but maybe not at least once in a year. Like what they are doing now. They should be calling and just talking to me. Then of course you see this looks like, apparently it looks like it's a very family type situation, how the law shall have a solution, and it's like, you know, how the children will behave with the parents. I mean, they should behave properly, but if they don't, if they do not call, if they do not contact, what can be a legal solution? But then surprisingly, while dealing with her matter, I found that there is even a law. The law was passed in 2012, if I am not wrong. It's a relatively recent law, which says that if the children are capable financially, they have to take care of their parents at an elderly age, both financially and mentally. So the mental support to the parents is a legal obligation of the children. We do not know that it is a legal obligation. We think that, okay, it's just a family obligation. But then our law says it is a legal obligation for all of us to give a mental support to our elderly parents. And if the parents make a complaint, only the parent can make a complaint, then we can even face imprisonment. We didn't know that. So you see, Then I told the lady that this is the situation. The lady said, of course I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to lodge a complaint against my children, but I just wanted to know that what they're doing is not only socially, family-wise, morally wrong, but they are also, I have given them the best education. They are all doing very good job and very respected in the society, but they have lost their morality and they have also not been following the basic laws. So this is a very touchy story which I can remember from the book.
I just want to share simply one thing, that is, this is basically the law passed in 2013, a Parents Maintenance Act.
Correct.
That defines, it's for our knowledge, that defines the concept of maintenance from the various different perspectives than we traditionally understood it. So it says about the psychological support, the thing that you have mentioned, that is, that it says that maintenance includes not only these material things, but also the psychological support. And also I'm really happy to let you know that another thing is that this also defined that it is not only responsibility of the children to provide the maintenance or give the psychological support, and also they're saying that the children have to live together where it is necessary. So I think this is a wonderful legislation which is called a welfare-oriented legislation that had actually accommodated all our traditional values and also accommodate something beyond that. And this is not only that, but many way I can correlate it with our traditional values. That is, some of this is like old home culture, which has been now somehow practicing in our country, although in a limited scale, I would say. But it is also saying that without the consent of the parents, the children cannot send them to the old home, even if they want to. Another issue is that the children and the parents, if they do not want to live separately, children cannot force them separately. For example, one son may say, I will take care of father and you will take care of mother. So they are being separated, right? So this law says, this is how, I can relate the thing, it's all about culture. Our Bengali culture actually does not allow these things. It is all about way of life, lifestyle. So the law is the reflection of, you rightly pointed out, and your book is very nice one, I would say, that this law is actually blend. I think that is a combination of the law, the living style, way of lifestyle, and also the culture, and also the tradition and heritage, I would say. So I am saying that this is just only one example by which our legislature had put their best effort to accommodate all the things together. And I believe that there are other laws as well which also try to do the same. But the thing, most importantly, as a law teacher, I can realize one thing, that is, the fact is that if you do not know your culture, if you do not know your heritage, if you do not know your tradition, knowing the law, it does not actually reflect the reality in a bigger term. So the thing is that law is a kind of interdisciplinary discipline or the subject that connotes that everything should be included within this issue. So as a general student also, we need to know the law, not only from the citizen perspective, but also from the different perspective as well. Thank you.
Perhaps it is our culture among the students not to ask questions. So as he has pointed out, that we are shaping our culture through our behavior. So how you want to say about your culture, we are not in support of asking anything, is in our culture. So that we will show that we are not that right conscious if we are not questioning. So this is a reflection of what culture we are moving towards, right? So we are not right conscious, we are not asking why it is not there. That means a scene of lawlessness will be created in turn if you don't ask, where you have a right to ask, right? So as he has said, we are actually defining what culture we have. Then we will come to the point how we will protect this culture within legal regime. So I guess they are more curious about the book, and they will explore by themselves by reading of the book. Okay, so thank you very much to you for being with us and answering. And it was an eye-opening session for the young generation, and from the next onward, they will ask you questions.
I have a question. So you were saying the elderly woman was a very educated and financially established family member, so she could actually ask you for the suggestion. But there are many who are not actually very good literate person. So how can they get the help?
Thank you. Yes, the cost, legal cost of an illegal dispute is a very important issue, and that is why we always or sometimes think that the people who have less financial abilities, they may not have access to justice because they cannot hire a lawyer, for example. But again, you would be glad to know that we have a legal aid system. Legal aid system, it's a structured legal aid system. So the government provides legal aid in terms of providing lawyers in the court for certain matters, not for every matter. So if you have a corporate dispute, you cannot ask for a legal aid. It does not qualify you within the threshold. So if you qualify you for the threshold, like the property matters, property in a sense that you have been dispossessed, and the family dispute, criminal matters, then the government aided, government funded lawyers will assist the person in the court. And it is very much gradually it has become common. I mean, now previously people did not know, but now in the trial court level we see that the poor people, they are being offered that do you need to be assisted by a legally aided lawyer, and then they say yes or no, then it's their choice. However, this is only available up to the from the court cases, but before the court cases there is no such legal aid, structured legal aid system. But there are some NGOs, local and international, who are operating to give some preliminary legal advice and assistance to this vulnerable group of people.
Parents are separated, then তখন childrenরা কি করবে? Like হয়তো বা বড় হয়েছে মার কাছে or বড় হয়েছে বাবার কাছে. At the age of time, like parents both are age same.
যদি প্যারেন্টসরা সেপারেটেড হয়ে যায় তাহলে চিলড্রেনদের ইস্যুটা যদি তারা মাইনর হন আপ টু 18, তখন এটা গার্জিয়ানশিপ অ্যান্ড কাস্টাডিকে নিচ্ছে, সেটার একটা প্রশ্ন চলে আসে। বেশিরভাগ ক্ষেত্রে আমরা দেখতে পারি এটা অ্যামিকেবলি হয়। বাবা মা যখন ডিভোর্স করেন বা সেপারেটেড হন তখন তারা অ্যামিকেবলি হয়তো ঠিক করেন যে এই বাচ্চাটা কার কাছে কিভাবে থাকবে। যদি তারা সেটা অ্যামিকেবলি ঠিক করতে না পারেন তাহলে আমাদের ফ্যামিলি কোর্টে কাস্টাডির মামলা করতে হয়। গার্জিয়ানশিপ অ্যাজ পার ল জেনারেলি লাইজ উইথ দ্য ফাদার ন্যাচারাল গার্জিয়ান। এক্সট্রিম অন্য সিচুয়েশন হলে হয়তো অন্য কেউ গার্জিয়ানশিপ নিতে পারে, বাট কাস্টাডি কার কাছে থাকবে অফ এ মাইনর চাইল্ড সেটা তখন কোর্ট ঠিক করে দেবে। আর যদি কেউ মেজর হয়ে যায়, দ্যাট ইজ 18+ হয়ে যায়, তাহলে আনফর্চুনেটলি অ্যাজ পার ল ইউ সি দ্যাট দে আর মেজর। যদিও হয়তো 18 বছর হলে তেমন মেজর হওয়ার কিছু নাই, সে তো ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট হওয়ার তো বাংলাদেশে আরও সুযোগ নাই, তাকে হয়তো তখনও বাবা মার সাথেই থাকতে হয়, কিন্তু ল তাকে ওই গার্জিয়ানশিপ পাওয়ার কোনো সুযোগ থাকে না। তখন সেটা তার ডিসিশন হয়ে যায় যে সে কি বাবার সাথে থাকবে না মার সাথে থাকবে আইনগতভাবে। তো বাবা মা যদি সেইটাকে প্রাধান্য দেন তাহলে ভালো, যদি প্রাধান্য না দেন তাহলে হয়তো একটা খুব ডিফিকাল্ট সিচুয়েশন, কারণ কোর্টের মাধ্যমেও তখন কাস্টাডি নেওয়ার সুযোগ থাকে না। অ্যাকচুয়ালি দিস বুক ইজ এ কম্পাইলেশন অফ মাই 12